And this is a picture of Dad and Frances at Interlochen Arts Academy. They still have a summer camp for gifted musicians, and it was in 1967 that Dad traveled with Frances to Interlochen. And there you have Frances playing at the final concert of the National Arts Music Festival, and also practicing. The other photograph shows him practicing at Interlochen Summer Camp. And there's a picture of our beloved music teacher, Mr. E. Clement Bethel, standing in the middle. And some of you might recognize the other persons. We have Lord and Lady Cunning Bruce, former governor of the Bahamas, and of course there is the late Mr. Cecil Wallace Whitfield and his wife. And I'm still playing the piano today. And David, he learned the violin. That photograph of David was taken at Queens College in 1976. He was the fiddler in the school musical Oklahoma. Now, I never heard Dad play the saxophone, but he always told us that he played in a band with the late Bert Cambridge, among others, and he played the saxophone. But in the latter part of his life, he always traveled with this mouth organ, and he would always slip it into his back pocket. I think he wanted to be the star of the show. So wherever we went, he would whip out the mouth organ. Nobody ever asked him or invited him to perform, but he would perform for the persons. His favorite being Autumn Leaves. And I could hear him saying, "Can you hear the leaves falling? Can you hear?" As he did his flurry on the mouth organ. That was written, that newspaper article was written by a good friend of his, an Englishman by the name of Walter Jacobs. Go ahead. Now, life was not all struggle and battle for Sir Randol. He enjoyed many, many relaxing moments on South Beach. He purchased a lot on the waterfront of South Beach, and later on, my maternal grandparents, they moved to South Beach, and the Bethel family clan would always gather at South Beach for picnics, Christmas, etc. And those were wonderful times for the family. And there we have a picture of us at South Beach. That's where he enjoyed swimming and relaxing. There you have a picture of David and Dad at the cabana of Mr. and Mrs. Fulton Ranger, South Beach. Another picture at South Beach. And we still go to South Beach occasionally. Now, the first Labor Day was celebrated on June 1st, 1956. And the purpose of Labor Day, the executives of the Bahamas Federation of Labor, they planned this mammoth parade in order to exhibit the strength of the labor movement. There you have Sam Stubbs, still with us today. And on that day, every Labor Day, the workers, they gathered at Windsor Park and they took their positions in the Grand Parade. In this photograph, we have the governor, the Earl of Ranfurly himself, and he was invited in 1956 to address the Labor Day rally at the Southern Recreation Grounds. They would always leave from Windsor Park and they would finish at the Southern Recreation Grounds. And here we see Lord Ranfurly and other executives standing at attention during the playing of God Save the Queen on that first Labor Day in 1956. Now, although Labor Day was marked and celebrated in 1956, the first official Labor Day was 1962, and legislation was necessary to make Labor Day a public holiday, and this meant piloting a bill through the House of Assembly. And yes. And why did Sir Randol think it was necessary to have an official Labor Day holiday. He thought a day, and I'm going to quote here, he thought a day should be set aside and designated as Labor Day as a fitting memorial to the contributions made by the working people to the progress of the colony. And I'll say that again. He thought a day should be set aside and designated as, quote, Labor Day as a fitting memorial to the contributions made by the working people to the progress of the colony. When Randol spoke to the laboring masses on that first Labor Day in 1962, he reflected on the 1st of June morning 1942, the day of the Burma Road riot, when men and women went on a rampage on Bay Street and demanded better working conditions on the job site. So Labor Day also was a day to commemorate the Burma Road riot of 1942. Thanks to them, said Randol, we have now learned how to substitute the conference table for the Riot Act. So the people, they always listened attentively to the speeches on the first Labor Day, and there you see that large banner, BFFL. That was the umbrella organization for the trade union movement in that day, the Bahamas Federation of Labor. In those days, the people always had live bands on the parade. They always dressed in their Sunday best, and they played hymns, church songs, unlike today when they seem to load up the trucks with big boom boxes and so forth. It wasn't like that in those days. And here's a picture of Sir Ralph Grey, the then Governor General, and he addresses the crowd on Labor Day 1965. And here we have Labor Day 1965. Labor Day 1977. Labor Day 1977. And this is a human rights march that took place in 1980. Next. And starting in the 1970s, whenever Randol marched, he always carried a banner which read, "Righteousness exalteth the nation." And he was forever exhorting the government to hold fast to principles of integrity and honesty and not to give in to the corrupt practices that seem to be enveloping them. And this is Labor Day 1987. Dr. Albert Donaldson, to Brad's right. And this will be Labor Day 2000, after he had passed. So Labor Day is still going on. The trade union movement is certainly keeping the tradition very much alive. Okay. Labor Day 2000.